Hi, I'm Jen Rogers at Nasdaq Market Site, and this is Breakthrough Economy. Today, we're looking at an industry that has exploded in the past decade, and many say is set for even more dramatic growth. The cloud. With over 60% of corporate data now stored in the cloud, ensuring that information is secure has never been more important. I'm joined by Ankur Shah, Senior Vice President at Palo Alto Networks, and Koujalgi, Managing Director at Wedbush Securities, to talk about cloud security trends, breakthroughs, and more. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Ankur, I want to start with you and just talk about this rapid growth that we've seen in cloud and what that's been doing to the need for cloud security.
First of all, Jen, nice to meet you as well. It's good to be here. Over the last decade, there has been a massive platform shift. It happens in technology industry every 10 years, where there's a new technology that brings about a big platform shift. Last 10 years was all about cloud. What's effectively happening is developers are leveraging cloud to shape code and move application faster than before. A lot of enterprises are becoming digital thanks to cloud. And as I'd like to put it, technology is no longer a monopoly of Silicon Valley. Every enterprise, every industry vertical is going to be a technology company thanks to cloud. So we live in this day and age where, like you said, over 60% of the workloads are moving to the cloud. So it's been a massive transformation. It's been fascinating to see.
So Taz, how do you think investors should be looking at this relationship between cloud growth that Ankur was just talking about and then the growth that we're seeing in the cloud security market? Do they go hand in hand? Is there a lag? How should investors think about it?
Sure, yeah, thanks for having me. So cloud, as Ankur mentioned, has been a big shift in the technology landscape in the last 10 years. And what has happened is that has changed how customers need to secure their workloads. So this whole paradigm shift in how IT is done also impacts how security is being done in the last 10 years. So one of the changes that has happened in the world of IT is when you go from on-prem to cloud, the way you secure those workloads has to also change, because now you're not behind a fence, you're not behind a wall that you were in the data center. So that impacts how you secure those workloads also. So this whole architecture of how you're securing the workloads also has to change along with shift to the cloud.
So Ankur, as we've seen this paradigm shift and this catch up and trying to figure out this new environment, now what happens next? Like, how do you keep up with the current levels of growth and what we're really expecting to come, especially as we're seeing generative AI, start to ramp here as well? How do you keep these necessary levels of security? Are you always kind of like catching up, or is it possible to stay ahead?
Yeah, it's a great question. The cloud itself, like Tess said, necessitated the security teams to move faster than the developers, which is just an impossible task. There are over 33 million developers and less than 3 million security professionals. And the people who actually understand cloud and security landscape is far fewer. Now, with generative AI, I talked about, we live in an app economy, and cloud enabled that app economy where enterprises were able to build application faster. Well, with generative AI, guess what? Like, the developers don't have to build code anymore. AI is building the code. So now you're going to have, already the average enterprise was using 500 commercial internal applications that they had to worry about securing. AI is going to bring about more and more applications. So that equation is going to get more and more lopsided, unfortunately. Our point of view, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, is that the only way and the right way to solve this security paradigm is to take a prevention-first approach. You have to make sure that your software supply chain is secure from the get-go.
Are some companies better off not utilizing it to the fullest extent possible? Do you think that we will see any pullback here, or is that just impossible? Companies need it at this point, and it is an advantage to them.
I think you have to be selective in what moves to the cloud and what stays in your own house. I think companies are approaching or adopting a hybrid model. Companies have workloads on-prem. I think cloud is growing faster than the overall IT spending. So we know that there's a shift happening from the on-prem world to the cloud world. But at the same time, there are companies, there are verticals that need to have some workloads on-prem. So we're seeing a hybrid model.
So Ankur, let's talk about what your team is doing specifically, because it typically takes, I believe, a cloud security team approximately 6 days to resolve a cloud security alert. Of course, that creates some window of opportunity for adversaries. So how is Palo Alto Networks addressing this?
Yeah, so over the last 4 years, we have been thinking about securing this by taking a platform approach. More specifically, what we're telling the customers is, first of all, Tess talked about securing the workloads in the cloud. We're trying to shift the focus into applications. Applications are your crown jewel. They're worth billions of dollars. And you want to protect that first. Once customers start focusing on which are the mission critical applications that they have to secure, they have to think about securing the application paradigm holistically from what we call code to cloud. You need to have that intelligence from code all the way when the developers are building the code until it ships to the cloud. You got to be able to connect the dots and have that intelligence. And that's how you're able to take a holistic approach, which is what we do at Prisma Cloud and at Palo Alto Networks, which is build a unified fabric, a complete comprehensive platform that secures the application pipeline from when the developers are building in their IDE all the way when it ships to the code. The industry often calls this sort of the shifting left approach. So we've been taking that, we've been building out technologies over the last 4 years as the leader in sort of this cloud security market as an independent vendor. We've been kind of setting the tone on how it needs to be done. So some of the old habits don't change that quickly. But we're trying to change the hearts and the minds of our customer to take that holistic approach. And that's our point of view. And I think that combined with AI, again, AI is going to be at the center of, AI will be problematic, but AI is also going to be the solution to solving these problems at scale.
So, Taz, how are investors approaching this right now? If we're going from more of this fragmented system to something that's hopefully better and more secure, and we have the rise of AI on top of all of this, where is investor sentiment right now?
I think, like Ankur mentioned, there is a desire to favor companies or stocks from an investor perspective that have a platform. But as Ankur mentioned, CIOs and CTOs, that we hear this all the time from our work with the community in the field. It's a huge nightmare, management nightmare, integration nightmare to manage multiple vendors for security, right? Companies like Palo Alto are doing a good job of consolidating all these functionalities into a single platform. And CIOs love that. They don't have to manage multiple vendors in terms of vendor relationships. They don't have to integrate those products on their own. They get this integrated approach from vendors like Palo Alto. So investors are rewarding companies like Palo Alto and like others like them who have a broader portfolio, who have a consolidated platform, instead of buying vendors that are point products from different vendors. So I think investors are biased positively towards companies and stocks that have a platform versus having point products.
Ankur, we've talked about it a little bit here, AI and the impact on business and the need for security. Many people are talking about sort of the rapid scale that we're going to see here and the amount of data that is going to be in the cloud just with generative AI and the costs that is associated with that. Is there anything that worries you about some of the challenges of this AI push and growth right now?
Yeah, it's an area that we're obviously keeping a close eye on. So just to kind of take a step back, the type of security risk that enterprises will have to start thinking about with AI is that everything that used to be done by bad actors will be done at scale. Like with AI, you can write a phishing email at scale. You can deploy a new piece of malware without even knowing how to write code. AI can generate that malware for you, right? AI also brings about an entirely new attack vector. So there is a AI, LLM, OWASP top 10, things like prompt injection, because a lot of the new generative AI experience are chat-based, so bad actor can inject bad prompts that can lead to all kinds of software security holes. So customers have to start thinking about embracing AI. I think you have to embrace AI. I don't think that's a question anymore, but they have to start understanding the size and the scale and the new attack vector that AI will start to bring about. So, like everything else, the first thing I'd recommend is for enterprises to get insights. What LLM models are in use? Are my developers using open source LLM models that are not in use? Would you like to avoid ChatGPT in the enterprise? What if an employee is going to put sensitive confidential data on ChatGPT prompt? Because that's going to OpenAI and Microsoft or Bard and Google. So you got to start getting that insight and then build a comprehensive security plan on AI. I think it can be done. At Palo Alto Networks, of course, our point of view is that AI is a data problem. And look, we today analyze over 800 million unique events on a daily basis through our AI technologies. and we're blocking billions of attacks on a daily basis. So ultimately, the companies and the vendors who have access to this data and are able to deliver better security outcomes for customers will ultimately prevail. But it's an area that enterprises will have to constantly think in this Gen AI.
Ankur and Taz, thank you both so much for joining us today. Great getting a chance to talk with you. I'm Jen Rogers.